Hey guys, it's Dr. Halicki. I'm going to go over this review sheet quickly for you. It may be more useful for some of you to have the slides available without a video comment, so I will be sure to put that in the resources. Some information about your midterm. There have been a couple of important changes. Obviously, this is now an open book, open note test, whereas it would have been in class. So hopefully that is helpful to most of you. It shouldn't take terribly long, nevertheless, to do the test. I've otherwise kept it, of similar length that you could finish it in a class period. You are welcome to refer to your notes, to the course materials that are in the resources in our Sakai site, and of course these videos. You may not consult each other, so no talking to classmates about the test, and you must not look at sources on the internet. The internet is full of weird stuff about language, language science, linguistics. So if you come up with something wonky that did not come from the textbook, it'll be pretty obvious, and there's a very good chance it'll just be wrong or inappropriate. Okay, so let's look at the sections. Defining the terms, just make sure, this is like what you've already done on quizzes. So you've had a lot of practice with this. Make sure that you provide both a clear definition. Complete sentences are never a bad thing for something like this, even if it's a very simple sentence, and always provide an example to illustrate. Part 2 is matching terms. We've learned a lot of new vocabulary in this course. All of the terms, I can tell you, come from the Jeopardy review test that is in the Sakai tests and exams and tests selection in the left menu. So if you haven't already taken this test, which is just for class participation credit, you should do so before it closes, and ideally before you take the test. You can take it as many times as you want. You can get them all wrong. Hopefully that's not the case, that you know more terms than you think you know. And the answers are available in the feedback selection. So that's a great way to practice all of this new vocabulary. Part 3 of the test is supposed to be IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, and I played around with ways to do this on Sakai. It's just too challenging to get those funny symbols in a short amount of time. I mean, if I had an extra week to devote just to developing transcription practice in Sakai, we could have something that would be really cool. I don't have that kind of time. In the grand scheme of things, I want us to be able to move on and get into some new exciting parts of the course, yada, 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 lots of explanation to tell you that we will not have a transcription section on this exam. I'm super sad about this. This is a time-honored tradition. I know that you are all super sad about this. And I know that some of you actually dutifully did that practice in this activity. So here are the answers to that, or my answers, in a couple of places. You could have options where we have syllabic consonants. So there, and a couple of vowel things. So remote, you could either have that diphthong glide or not. So there are these little tweaks that you could have to this. But if you want to check your answers, here are my transcriptions. All right, the next part is morphology. And on this same image, you have my answers to this if you want to check. Okay. And again, I will put all of this in the resources. So what we want to do is divide the word into separate morphemes using a plus sign. For example, befriended should be broken up so that you show me that you know where the separate morphemes are divided. And then in some cases, both derivation and inflection apply. In other word examples, it's either derivation or inflection. Okay, so you've had some practice with that. And then the last part of the exam is kind of novel and open-ended in a way. There is an open-ended component to it. And this tends to, this goes very well, but sometimes students overthink it. So I want to walk you through all of these examples. This is asking you to synthesize much of the formal linguistic information that you've learned so far in the course and apply it to actual kind of communication errors, okay? So what's wrong with the sentence? And you just want to use language and terminology from the textbook. So invoke linguistic concepts to state what the problem is in each sentence, and then propose a new version in which the problem has been fixed. And we're actually keeping it somewhat narrowly focused. Each sentence should clearly look like it has a morphological or a syntactic problem at its base. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to identify, but you know it's going to be one or the other, morphological or syntactic. Now, once you make that selection, how you choose to fix the problem could be open to interpretation. You know, there could be more than one good way to fix the sentence to make it grammatical. And that's where the open-ended part comes in. So let's look at the first one. Antique dresses from grandmother in excellent condition. The problem is syntactic because, and notice I've used brackets here in the slide, grandmother in excellent condition forms a coherent but unintended noun phrase constituent that is interpretable. Okay, so our brain sees that sequence and can absolutely interpret it as a noun phrase constituent, because that's what the syntax prompts us to do. And why is this problematic? Well, it implies that the grandmother is in excellent condition, which is silly and undoubtedly not what the person intended when they wrote this want ad. These are real world examples, by the way. So to fix it and remove this ambiguity, because they undoubtedly did not mean that the grandmother is in excellent condition, but rather the dresses are in excellent condition, I simply propose moving the modifier to a higher position in the string. Again, syntactic problem has a syntactic fix. In this case anyway. So antique dresses in excellent condition from grandmother. Okay, so that's just my simple way of fixing that one. In number 2, this problem is clearly morphological and comes straight out of a homework activity that you all had a few weeks ago. We know that this particular ER suffix cannot attach to a place noun that ends in a vowel. You can say things like New Yorker or Londoner because New York and London do not end in vowels, but you cannot say Ohioer or Iowa. There is an allomorph for those situations. And so the fix is, of course, morphological. You know, in this answer that I wrote, I could have used the word allomorph. That would have been even better because that's what this is. N is an allomorph of this suffix that is triggered by a noun, a place noun that ends in a vowel. So the fix is simply, I wish I could be an Ohioan like my host family. Now, here's the thing. You could have had a syntactic fix for this morphological breakdown. You could have said as a fix, I wish I could be from Ohio like my host family. And that would actually be fine. Okay. Next one. In number 3, George put the banana This is a syntactic problem because the verb put requires both a noun phrase, direct object, and a prepositional phrase, complement, so two complements, in order to form a grammatical sentence. So we have a sentence level problem, that means syntax. And to fix it, I simply come up with a prepositional phrase that would make the sentence grammatical. George put the banana, prepositional phrase, in his backpack. Okay? And oh, it looks like I forgot to do number 4. We eated all our yogurt for breakfast. That was an example from my child now some years ago. That problem is morphological, okay? And it is a form of analogy, or overgeneralization is a good word to use, because the ed suffix is a regular affix applied to verbs to make them past tense. So it is a regular form of past tense inflection in English. Unfortunately for little children, many verbs in English have irregular past tense forms, and so the fix is morphological. The fix to this problem, we simply supply the correct irregular past tense form, ate. We ate all our yogurt for breakfast. Thank you for tuning in.